I'm Rishi from Dish by Rish, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these incredible halloumi fritters. We're going to be spicing them up with a few aromatics and pan frying them until they're perfectly golden and crisp. Now, these are going to be a little bit different from what you probably had before. They're going to be flavoured with some East Asian inspired aromatics, so it's something a little bit different, but they're really, really good. So, let's get started with all the ingredients that we're going to need for these halloumi fritters. Now, first one obviously is halloumi. We've got 2 packs here, so this is a total of about 450 grams of halloumi. We've got a shallot, so this is a banana shallot. You can get this in most supermarkets. If you can't get hold of this, just use a small red onion. We've got garlic, a lot of garlic. We're going to use about 4 cloves in this. We've got bird's eye red chilies, so I'm using 2 bird's eye red chilies. These are specifically Thai red chilies, but you can use any of your preference. And if you want it more mild, just go for a more mild chili. These are pretty hot. We've got some black sesame seeds. We've got toasted sesame oil. And I am going to add in a little bit of chili flakes. Now I've got these Sichuan chili flakes, and you can find these in any East Asian supermarket. But if you can't get hold of those, your standard red chili flakes will work fine. So use whatever you've got on hand. So with the first step of making the actual fritters, we're going to saute the aromatics. The aromatics being the shallot, the garlic and the red chilies. Now we're going to cook this up to take out the rawness, but also to enhance the flavour of these spices. So they're going to add more flavour to the final fritters. And I'm going to show you exactly how to prep these and how to do that. Now if you have got a food processor, this is going to make the entire process so much easier for you, because it's going to do most of the work. So I'll show you how to do it with a food processor, and I'll show you what to do if you don't have one. So firstly, we're going to prepare our shallot. We're going to do this by cutting off the top part of the shallot but leaving the base intact. This will hold it together. We're then going to slice it lengthways into halves. At this point you can peel off the outer layer and then finely slice the shallot. We're also going to finely slice our garlic and then roughly mince it with a knife. You don't have to be super precise. Then finely slice your bird's eye chilies. Then saute your shallot, your garlic and your chilies in about 1 tablespoon of oil over medium heat. This only needs around 2 to 3 minutes just to cook out the rawness of them. So whilst the aromatics that we've just cooked are cooling just for a little bit, we're going to start processing everything together. And I'm going to be using my food processor here. If you don't have one, just finely mince your cooked aromatics with a sharp knife and crumble your halloumi in your hands, and then just mix it all together in a big bowl. But if you have got a food processor, it's going to make everything so much easier and quicker. I'm going to be using mine, so I'll show you what to do. You just want to crumble your halloumi just in there. It just needs to be rough because it's going to do it for us anyways. Add in the cooked mix. Try and make sure you get all of it out, because that's all flavour right there. We're going to add in about 1 tablespoon of black sesame seeds. Roughly around 2 teaspoons of toasted sesame oil. We're also going to add in half a tablespoon of chili flakes. Now these Sichuan ones are really mild, so you can go a little bit heavier, but if you're using the traditional Italian or roasted red pepper flakes, you probably only want to use about a teaspoon. Now we're not going to be adding any salt to this mix because halloumi is salty enough, it doesn't need any more. The shallots are going to give it a little bit of sweetness, so that's all we need. But if you are finding the mix too hot, add a little bit of honey or a little bit of maple syrup or agave, and that will do the job for you to balance it all out. So I'm just transferring the mix to the bowl. And one thing I was thinking that you guys could even try is if you didn't want to use halloumi, you could actually try this with paneer. So technically they're the same in the sense that they're both, I'd say, a medium hard cheese. Neither of them melt and they both crumble in the same way. So you could easily use paneer instead. The only thing I'd do is, if you are going to use paneer, add some salt, because paneer itself has no seasoning, has no salt whatsoever. But that would work really, really well, and to be honest, I'm probably going to give that a go next time, because that sounds really good. Okay, so now all of it's transferred to the bowl. I'm going to be adding in some plain brown corn flour. So roughly, it's going to be around 3 tablespoons of each, but you may need a little more or a little bit less, so just eyeball it. You want it to be just about enough where you can kind of squeeze the mix together and it just about holds shape. You don't want to add too much, or it becomes quite a dry and firm fritter.
Add in 3 tablespoons of corn flour and 3 tablespoons of plain flour. Now, using your hands or a spatula, give this a mix to incorporate all the flour. You want it to form a consistency which just about holds together when pressed. To form the fritter shapes, use around 2 tablespoons of the mix at a time and squeeze it between your hands to press it together. Then lightly tap it in your hands to form a small round fritter shape as shown.
Okay, so the next step is to dredge all of these fritters in the breadcrumbs. Now I'm using panko breadcrumbs. They're flakier and lighter than traditional breadcrumbs, and they just give a lighter result overall. They get more crisp. But to get these to stick, I made a little paste of flour and water that I've just whisked together. I haven't measured any of these out because it's really easy to just add more to it. So this was probably around 3 tablespoons of flour, just enough water to make it into a pourable consistency, but still quite thin. So this is probably somewhere in between a pancake batter and a crepe batter. And to the breadcrumbs, I've just added a pinch of salt because it has no seasoning. So you're going to take one of your fritters, drop them in the flour water paste, and use a fork because it just makes it easier to shake up any excess. And as soon as that's done, straight into the breadcrumbs, coat. And honestly, it does not need to be precise. And then just shake off any excess. And that is your fritter done. So I'm going to leave that on a cooling rack just for the coating to set a little whilst I do all of these, and then I'll show you what to do next. I've just got a wide frying pan heating up over medium heat. I've got about 4 to 5 tablespoons of oil in there, just enough to cover the base. I'm going to pan fry, so shallow fry the fritters. Halfway through cooking, I'm going to flip them over so both sides get cooked evenly. I'm going to start popping them in. Probably might be able to get in around 8 at a time. Maybe a few more. Nope, just 8. Okay, now let these brown. Once they start browning, we'll take a couple of minutes, flip them over, and then let the other sides brown as well.
These will take 2 to 3 minutes on either side. You'll see the edges going golden, and that's when you know to flip.
Okay, so all our fritters are done. We're now on to the final stage, which is the dipping sauce. I'm going to plate on top with some garnishes, so I'll show you what to do. Super quick and simple. We're going to use some Greek yogurt, so roughly around 3 tablespoons. Again, you don't need to be precise, you can adjust this to your own preference as well. We've also got some sriracha, so I'm going to eyeball this roughly around 1 tablespoon, maybe half a tablespoon. Yeah, about half a tablespoon. We're also going to add in some honey. Now I'm going to add in roughly around a teaspoon of honey, just to balance it out with a little bit of sweetness. And just mix that all together. Should be like almost like a sweet and spicy sauce to go with it. Okay, I am going to add a little bit extra sriracha. I do like mine slightly on the hot side, but add less if you want less heat. Okay, there we are, that's our sauce done. It's as easy as that. So now I'm going to show you how to plate these up, or how to serve them. You could just literally have your fritters in a plate, and your sauce in a little pot for people to dunk into. I'm going to plate them up just on one plate, so I'll show you how. I'm going to put a few on there, probably around 5. Okay, so we've got our 5 fritters just there. Okay. You could do more if you wanted to. I'm going to plate our sauce, just drizzle it on top. Top of these we're going to add some fresh greens, so I've got some spring onions here. I'm just going to scatter them on top. Again, it doesn't need to be precise. I do like a lot of spring onions, so it's entirely up to you. And finally, a little bit of Thai basil. This is optional, it doesn't really have anything to do with the recipe, but it does add a lot of flavour. It's got almost a star anise, anisey kind of flavour. So just scatter a few on top for a few greens, and that's it really. You're done.